Okay, we are going to study a little of economics here. Uh, the concept of demand and supply and market equilibrium. Let's talk about what is demand and what is supply and what kind of changes we can have in demand and supply forces. Demand is willingness and ability to buy a product. It has two characteristics. One is called willingness and second is called ability. I mean, if I want to buy a Mercedes, I must have the enough budget to buy a Mercedes. If I only want to buy and I don't have budget, I do not create effective demand in the market. There is a law of demand. That with other things remaining the same, if the price of product rises, quantity demanded falls. And vice versa. It means vice versa means if the price of the product will fall, its quantity demanded will rise. So this law want to state that when the products become more expensive, the number of users of those products decrease. If a phone is of dollar 500, there will be more users of that phone. But if a phone becomes of dollars 800, there will be lesser users of that. Phone becomes of dollar 1200, there will be more lesser users of that phone. We can draw it in a table. For example, there is a product whose price of X, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and that is the quantity demanded of that product X. At the 2 price, we will have highest demand. As the price rise, our demand will fall. And at the highest price, we'll have lowest demand. I mean, at the price 10, that is the highest. In that case, we have the lowest demand, that is 10. And at the lowest price, that is 2, we have the highest demand, that is 50. We can draw it to on the x-axis, we can draw quantity. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50. On the y-axis, we can draw price. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. So when the price was 10, the quantity demanded was also 10. When the price was 8, the quantity demanded was 20. When the price was 6, the quantity demanded was 30. When the price was 4, the quantity demanded was 40. When the price was 2, the quantity demanded was 50. So we draw a line that is called demand line. The demand line shows an inverse relationship between the price and quantity. Now we are going to study the determinants of demand. I mean, the factors on which the demand line or the demand graph is or the demand law is dependent. First of all, income of consumer. If income of consumer rises, the demand may increase irrespective of the price. If you are becoming rich, you will always buy more costly iPhones and all that, because you won't be much concerned about the price then. Price of substitutes goods and complementary goods. Substitute goods are the goods that are used in replacement of each other. When we speak the term replacement, we might say they are alternatively used. For example, petrol and CNG, for example, petrol and diesel, for example, bread and roti, for example, the alternatively used, for example, the rice and the wheat. These are alternatively used uh, goods that are called substitutes. The Pepsi and Coca-Cola are the best example of substitutes goods that are used with one another. And the second are complementary goods. Complementary, sorry, the substitute goods that are used alternatively to each other, as I told, the Pepsi and Coke. And then we have complementary goods that are used with one another. For example, petrol and car, that are complementary goods. Shoes and socks, that are complementary goods. For example, the bread and the butter, these are the complementary goods that are used with one another. Now, the problem of substitutes goods is that when price of one substitute rise, the demand of other substitute falls. For example, if the price of Pepsi will rise, the demand of Coca-Cola will fall. And the problem of the complementary goods is that when the price of one complementary goods rises, what I'm saying, sorry, sorry. Let me tell you again. When the price of one substitute rises, for example, price of Pepsi rises, the demand of Coca-Cola will also increase, because people will leave Pepsi and they will start taking more Coca-Cola. And when the price of complementary goods rises, the demand of other complementaries will fall. For example, if the petrol become expensive, people will stop buying petrol. There is no point of buying cars and bikes. Then people will also stop buying cars and bikes, because the petrol is becoming expensive. So the complementary good won't be used with that product. That's why the demand of other complementaries will also fall. Let's talk about the supply. Supply is ability and willingness to sell a product at specific price. The ability and willingness to sell a product at specific price. We have a law of supply too. That is, with other things remaining the same, if the price of product rises, quantity supplied also rises. And vice versa. So it means if the price of product will fall, its quantity supplied will also fall. We can make the table of that. For example, there is a price of good X 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and there is quantity supplied of good X 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We can take quantity supplied at x-axis 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Price at y-axis 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. When the price was 2, the quantity was 10. When the price was 4, the quantity was 20. When the price was 6, the quantity was 30. When the price was 8, quantity was 40, and then 50. So we can draw a line that is called supply line. That supply line shows a positive relationship between price and supply. So let's talk about the factors on which the supply is dependent. Apart from the change in price, there are many factors on which the supply will be dependent. First of all, cost of production. If the cost of production of the product is continuously increasing, it will be becoming difficult to supply and the supply will fall. The tax imposed, indirect taxes, tax imposed on producers. If tax imposed on producers continue to increase, it will become difficult for them to supply whatever the price is. Government subsidies, if government provides subsidies to the producers, the supply will increase. Even if the price is falling, the supply will increase. Weather conditions, especially when it comes to agriculture products, because they can ruin the supply if there is a flood or something like that. And fifth, the advancement in technology that always improves the supply. And people will be able to supply more. Because the advancement technology makes it easy for the producers to increase the supply. So that is a brief introduction of demand and supply.